For almost 4 years, $50 billion in aid that was supposed to go to Puerto Rico to help with the aftermath of Hurricane Maria from 2017. For 4 years, $50 billion that Congress approved to go to the island has been held up. And it's been held up for one reason and one reason alone. Politicians on the island weren't big fans of Donald Trump. And they called him out for his horrific response to the hurricane. That's it. A grand total of $69 billion had been allocated by Congress to go to the island. Only $19 billion had been released. And every year that Puerto Rico was still rebuilding, which they are still rebuilding, every year they'd come asking for the money, and the Trump administration would say, no, if you want it, you now have to do all of these other things. You have to get rid of these political opponents of the president. The island was being starved of the aid that they were promised because Donald Trump had a political grudge against the island, and he didn't care if they suffered. He didn't care if they never rebuilt. He didn't care that more than 3,000 Americans died on that island in 2017 from Hurricane Maria. None of that mattered. What matters was they pissed him off, so he withheld their funds. Well, this week, and it's shocking that it took this long, but this week, President Biden decided they were going to release the rest of the money. They weren't going to impose all these ridiculous loopholes that Trump had put in place that were nearly impossible for anybody to actually work their way around. So no, you were promised this money. We're going to let you have this money. And for good measure, we're throwing in an extra $8.2 billion for housing development in Puerto Rico. Sorry that the last guy was such a selfish prick. They didn't add that last part, but I really feel like they should have. But even if they didn't, I think we all kind of are on the same page on that. But I do have to say again, we're coming up on Biden's 100th day in office. This kind of seems like day one stuff. Maybe day two stuff. It didn't really take them a whole lot to just rescind the Trump orders and just get them that money. Congress had already approved it. It was sitting there waiting. You really could have and should have done this earlier, but you know what? I'm not gonna nitpick on this because it is a really great thing that Biden has officially ended this long-standing feud between Trump and Puerto Rico. Don't get me wrong, Trump still hates Puerto Rico. Absolutely loathes it. If he were still president today, this money would still be held up. Puerto Rico would still be starved for cash. And let's not forget, these are American citizens. These are American citizens. He was their president, and he punished every single one of them because a couple leaders disagreed with him. This was basically one of the hallmarks of the Trump administration with every disaster. If a disaster occurred in an area where the politician in charge wasn't a huge fan of Donald Trump, well, guess what? You didn't get your aid, or at least not enough. California wildfires, great example. Same thing happened to them. Meanwhile, hurricanes hit Florida. He made dang sure that our Republican-controlled government down here got everything they wanted and then some. Same thing during the pandemic. He tried to starve Democrat-controlled states of aid and supplies while showering states that didn't even need it with everything they wanted because they loved him. The man was a disgusting prick. Still is. But at least he's no longer president, disgusting prick. Hopefully the island is able to rebuild. Hopefully they get what they need. Hopefully people can finally, after 4 years, start putting their lives back together. But folks, this is the danger of Donald Trump, and this is why he needs to be prevented from being able to run for office again. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, or center. When Americans need help, the federal government's job is to help them, regardless of whether or not they like who is in charge. That is irrelevant. But Trump made that the number one criteria for getting aid during his administration.